Alrighty, I think I've got a bone to pick with DJI. Maybe not with DJI directly, but maybe with some of the content creators who are overselling this thing. And that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I watched everybody else's reviews. It almost feels like YouTube became the sales channel lately. Whatever the brand says, goes. And some of the creators that I thought wouldn't do this shit, they are definitely on the bandwagon. Which, look, I know, times are hard and everything, but you've got to take into account that there's a lot of people relying on our reviews, on the things we say, and then they have to put their own money. Now, I'm not getting anything from DJI, nor I'm counting on it, especially not after this video, I think. I'm getting a lot of products from other brands, and if something's not up to scratch, I either refuse to review it, or I'm just telling the brand, look, this is a review that is getting published, and if someone doesn't want to work with me later, that's fine, I can take that. So yeah, this looks like slightly less of an effort of a video. I even forgot to take my mic with me, but here it goes. Open gate on the Osmo Action 6 SAX S, and I'll show you examples of why and how much it actually cuts into your footage. And as a matter of fact, to get your 16:9 or 9:16 ratios, you're actually losing a lot of quality. Don't get left behind. I know this seems like bragging, but this is literally 5 minutes drive from my house. It's insane. Now going back to DJI Osmo 6, look, I love the idea of having an open gate. I am pissed off that Nikon didn't put it in ZR, and I really don't want to switch to any other brand because it matches nicely with my Komodo X, and it's just a great camera overall. But yes, open gate in general, great freaking idea. The execution, however, with DJI is that we're not actually using the full sensor. So here's the comparison I've made on the bonnet of my van, showing exactly how much real estate you're losing by switching to 1x1. Now, the 4x3 crop, which I'm using right now, is actually pretty good. But it's been present in Action 5, and I don't believe that 1x1 improves anything. If anything, it makes it slightly worse, which is a bit of a bummer. And to be fair, as far as quality goes, after so many updates, yeah, I have no real issues. Picture quality is great, but it was great since the Action 4. So, cutting to the chase, if you're after a new camera, Action 4 should be your choice because it just works fine, quality is great, and you're not gaining that much by getting the 5 or a 6. Unless you really want that 4x3 aspect ratio. I'm using it because I started shooting in it. I don't use it anymore because, again, it crops in a little bit, and if you're filming POV, that makes a huge difference. And now, obviously, if you're just chasing your family around with the camera, cool, you know, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you're shooting POV, so you're mountain biking, kite surfing, doing something that when you keep your camera in your mouth, that crop is bloody annoying. Because I did lose quite a lot in terms of vertical real estate, but also horizontal. And yeah, and I haven't checked it before I came back from Cape Verde. Yeah, which is a bit of a bummer. Picture quality, it's cracking, but it would look so much better if I wouldn't have to crop into a fairly small sensor. Because let's not kid ourselves, this camera, as good as it is, the sensor is tiny in comparison to any real proper cameras. The picture quality is great, although it's a little bit warmer than on previous cameras. It was progressively getting warmer from Action 4 to Action 5 to Action 6. And it's just a matter of preference. You can tweak this in software later. The standard picture profile is not something I'm normally shooting in because it's massively oversaturated. I just like shooting in log because it gives me more control over the end result. But then again, if you don't want to mess around, standard quality, yes, it's fine. Low light capabilities of this camera. So this is how it looks at night in the standard settings and the D-Lock M.
He's right on the front. Is it gonna get smashed up or not?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't like to have a house too close to the eroding coastline, really. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is a test of the super night mode on the Osmo 6. Using these in the dark sucks ass. And there's no amount of AI post-processing that can help that. Standard scenario for me is going from super sunny, well, we're in Scotland, so this is still considered sunny, patch in the trail into the woods. As soon as you hit the woods, pixels start. You're not going to switch to night mode because you have no chance of doing that. I managed to rip my arm out without trying to do anything mountain biking. The only option is recording in log, and log in low light is mediocre, right? It's not something you will use in the pro production. Obviously, again, if you're using these cameras for yourself, if you're using these cameras to record family trips, yeah, look, Bob's your uncle. It's small, it's portable, it's durable, it's waterproof. You can't really ask for more. I think I had to vent a little bit. In terms of the sound quality, it's not super windy just now. Well, there's a breeze coming through, so you'll hear that on the internal mics. The reason I'm not using mic 3 to record this segment is just to show you how it works just off your hand without any attachments. But we'll switch to mics in a second. It works better with wireless mic, that's for sure, for sound quality. And a pro tip, just keep them under your shirt so you're not gonna get affected by the wind so much. Now, the downside to this is obviously having another device you need to connect and remember to have it connected. Is it necessary? I mean, yeah, for sound quality I would say any wireless mic. It doesn't have to be DJI, but I would say the DJI is kind of integrated into the ecosystem already, so it just works out of the box. Easy to pair, works every single time. And it's got a clipping control on the DJI Mic Mini, which is all I would get for action cameras, to be fair. Obviously, there are some benefits to having an action cam, because if you happen to drop it, it still works. You don't have to worry about sound, you don't have to worry about water ingress, you don't have to worry about much. It will survive most of the things you throw at it, and trust me, I've got some experience in that. Okay, just a quick note on adding that macro lens that people are using to vlog with. I kind of refuse the idea of spending extra money on a lens that will only fit this one camera, because I'm pretty dead sure that if DJI releases Osmo Action 6 Pro or 7 or 8, you'll need to buy another expensive attachment for it. The same goes for ND filters for these cameras. If you're using them as intended, so you're using them for water sports, it's just too much hassle. You're not going to change a freaking lens when you're heading out on a wave, and then what, halfway through you're going to change it because the climate came over? It makes absolutely no sense. So if you're getting one of these cameras, I would argue use them as they are. Don't spend your hard-earned bucks on extra lens that will basically buy you another flight to somewhere nice. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Now we're on the original glorious 16:9 ultra-wide lenses. I'm still holding in my hand just for a reference point. Oh, and also I do have my DJI Mic Mini on me this time, so you can actually hear what I'm saying. So just to wrap this guy up, I'm not saying this is a bad camera. I'm also not saying that this is something revolutionary that you need to jump on. And from personal standpoint, I think the DJI Action 4 is the best deal out there right now. Would I recommend buying DJI Action 6? I'm not gonna say that because it is up to you to weigh the pros and cons and the amount of money you want to spend on another gadget. If you're using your cameras all the time and you want the latest and the greatest, it's a great buy. It's a fantastic bloody camera. But then again, so is Action 4. And so is the Action 5, because it's got the 4x3, so it gives you a little bit of extra flexibility in post. I've been using Action cams since GoPro 2. So I did have a fair bit of an experience with them. And we live in these fantastic times where all of these cameras have insanely good quality. So don't stress out about getting the latest and the greatest, because most of them are really good. I wouldn't stress out too much about the low light performance in any of the Action cameras. I think my advice here would be to get something you can afford, that you won't have a buyer's regret after because you had to take it in Klarna or something. The point is, you can't go wrong these days. And if you lasted that long, I really appreciate it. Drop a like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about this camera or any other of the DJI cameras, drop them below and I'll definitely come back to you. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next.